What's going on, people? So, see that? It's out of the box. Real quick picture. This is the last shoe that I need to talk about for today before I go knock out the on-feet things and whatnot. I would have been done with all this earlier, but for whatever reason, the camera decided that it did not want to record the audio for, well, not the camera, but the Shure microphone. It was like, I'm not doing it. Same thing happened with that whole Yeezy thing back in December of 2023. So, I don't know. It's a thing, so now I'm just recording everything all over again, all 4 videos for today, which is not great. Whatever, it happens. It's not like I really had anything else going on anyway, so, you know, it snowed today, which is weird here in Virginia, so I'm definitely not going anywhere today, right? It's fine, like, it's not that bad, it's just, I don't want to be out there. So anyways, this right here, the Adidas Supernova Prima in blue and another shade of blue. They probably have their own names for these things, but I don't know what they are and I'm not looking to see what it was. Down there across the bottom, you have a very similar outsole to the video that I had before this with the Supernova Rise, because, you know, that's just kind of how that works, right? But to give you the same sort of breakdown, what you have going on down in here is similar to like a plated shoe approach, but instead of plates, they have this sort of like pronged thing going on. So that's kind of why it breaks out like this, right? And it still goes across your whole foot. Kind of gives you like a little spring-loaded action going from step to step. Usually works out pretty nicely, at least in the plated shoes that I have in the past, which, in case you're curious, the Gel Kensei Max and the Glide Ride Max. Both of those have plates in them. Different materials, though. Anyways, looking on up to the midsole, right? What you're seeing in there, it's Dreamstrike Plus. It's kind of one of those things that Adidas came up with some time ago. It's supposed to give you like some nice rebound action and whatnot, as far as, you know, reaction-based foams and all that goes. So there you go. There's that. It's not going to be on the same level as like the Light Strike that you have on some of the other things, but still should be pretty solid. And going by what I've seen in the reviews and stuff from various things with this, various running shoes with this stuff in there, good stuff, man. So anyways, oh, real quick. On the inside, if you're looking at like the the inside of it and all that, it looks very much as the outside did, just without some of the labeling. Now, past that though, giving you some little views and whatnot of these from a higher angle so you can kind of see what all is really going on here. Personally, like, this is a pretty cool look. It looks very wintry, you know, just the way like they have these blues mixed in here. But this one looks like, if they ever make some more colorway options, like, they could have a winner right here, just visually speaking, you know? But we'll see how that goes. I mean, these have been out for a while now, and for over 6 months, and I don't see a whole lot of them out there, so I'm guessing maybe they're not going to make any more colors. I don't know. Either way, so I'll give you some stuff to know before we go jumping on into like the personal thoughts or whatever. So the upper of this, right? It's a re-engineered mesh from like the Rise, so these do feel better, right? Just off of walking around indoors and stuff. Yes, it's a difference that you can notice if you're wearing them both, whatever, but it's not a difference to where you should just completely overlook the Rises. I don't think it's that serious, but it is better, right? Maybe it'll be more breathable in actual like execution when you're wearing them or something. Past that, one of the things that I do like about these, I like these little blue speckles on here. It just works very well on this particular style. And I almost bought the same colorway of the Rise in these. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I'm actually kind of liking this color more. But anyways, moving on past that, on the side here, got 3 stripes for the whole Adidas thing, right? Behind that, you're going to have all the standard mesh that you normally would have on the upper of a shoe. And as I pointed out on the last ones, these also have a 3M strip in there. So that way, if you're going to be running around at night, you'll be slightly more visible, right? Hopefully the rest of you has some sort of reflectivity on it too, because otherwise you can't just count on just the shoes, you know what I'm saying? So, moving on back to the rest of it. The rest of the shoe on the back end is very much everything that was on the front end, just a little more solid and a little more light blue, right? So that's what's going on there. Back to the front and everything. So as far as the laces go, I believe this is one of those lacing systems that's supposed to help hold the laces in like a little more securely. I mean, I haven't had any issues on any running shoes in forever, so I feel like that's not even like a selling point anymore. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just like expected nowadays. But the tongue is also pretty good at like staying in place as well, which is a thing that you want. You don't want it slipping around. And it does kind of remind me of like the Nova Blast 5 that I was talking about not too long ago. But to me, and I've said this before, a lot of, even these, the tongue wise on the Adidas kind of reminds me of that too. But this reminds me of them, the Nova Blast 5, a lot, just overall. And I don't know who was doing what first, you know what I'm saying? But it's just one of those things. The Nova Blast 5, the Nova Blast series in general has been working out very well, so I could see that how a lot of people would kind of model some things after that, because hey, they have a winner there. They truly do. In most people's eyes, right? I still have my own personal preferences, but hey, it is what it is. So this here, feeling pretty good. I do like it. Nice plush tongue to an extent. Not as plush as the Rise, but I would say that's kind of a good thing. Because, I just don't want too much going on down in there. And that's just me. But you do have a little bit of branding and whatnot, because every now and then you gotta let people know what kind of shoes you're wearing, so that way people can know, oh yeah, that's an Adidas shoe. Wow, cool, I'll have to look those up, right? It's the thing that people do, man. Gotta keep that brand out there. So let's move on to the inside here. Down on the inside, you have this nice little plush backing around like where your ankle is gonna be and all that good stuff. Feels very nice. So in case you're wondering about what's going to be going on with how your heel feels as far as anything maybe rubbing against it, this feels like it's going to hold it in there pretty nicely. And one thing that they did mention, I didn't say it about these Rises, but apparently Adidas went through some extra effort to really give you like this heel feeling that eliminates heel slippage and makes it feel like you're just being hugged in the right ways for your heel. And I will agree that it's working out so far right now. The rest of the inside though, like I said, it's all just kind of blued out and everything. Feels nice though to the touch. I like it a fair amount, so there's that. And the thin tongue, like I was saying, that's kind of gets stitched down onto the inside. With a gray insole, it says Supernova on it. Now, past that, I don't think there's too much else left to say about the uppers and stuff like that, as far as the visual. So I'm going to give you, this time I'm going to do the comparison thing now, then I can just breeze through all the rest of the stuff after the fact, right? So this being the Supernova Rise, right, comes in at 140. This being the Supernova Prima comes in at 160. Very similar. The Rise 2 just came out last month in December, right? So these should be dropping in price. Now, what do you get for the $20 price jump? Again, the bottoms are going to be very much the same. Like down there, they both have that same sort of pronged outsole approach thing with like the energy rods going on, right? So that's the same thing that they're both doing for the most part. They both have Dreamstrike Plus in the midsole. This one has more of it, which makes it heavier, right? They're both in the 9-ounce range, but this one is just higher. So if you want the lightest thing, that's this one. Also, one thing that's worth noting to some people perhaps, and if you notice like heel drops or whatever, this might be of use to you. This one, it's a lower drop, right? So 8 millimeters. This one is 10, meaning the difference in the height in the back to the front. If you're not sure how you'll feel about that, head on over to a running shoe store, try one out, or try something out that has an 8, try something out that has a 10. Do you notice it? Do you not? There's your answer. So anyways, past that, the uppers do look very similar because again, they took this, the Rise, and just kind of retooled it just a little bit for the Prima. So it's just typical re-engineering of meshes that they do from year to year. It's a standard approach that people do. Does it feel better? Yes, it does feel better. But is it like something to where you should say, I don't want to get these? No, I don't think it's that serious. I think that you should not skip over the 140 price range for these. If anything, you might want to lean towards them just because they have more colorway options and they're cheaper. And if you're only buying these for walking, well, you're not going to be making use of all the extra techs involved anyway. So again, that would be your best bet to me, right? But anyways, let's talk about some personal thoughts, things, and then we'll get on into the sizing and comfort. Personally, these right here are pretty nice, right? I do like the fact that they have like a lower heel drop in there, like because it feels better just to me. I'll probably say something along those lines with the comfort as well in a little bit. But that's the thing. Also, the look of them, I like that a lot more, because even though like green and black is a more preferred color combination to me, I guess because this is new and maybe it just kind of comes off a little cooler in some ways, like in more ways than one, I think that just makes me like these a little bit more. I almost bought the same color, green and black, on this, and I'm actually glad that I didn't now, because for one, I wanted them to look different. And two, now like I see that this one actually kind of looks better. So that's pretty cool. And there's just a lot of other things about how they're made that are just working out pretty well. So are they worth the $160? I will say that the $20 does go towards something meaningful. It's not just a price drop or price jump just for some random bells and whistles. This actually makes some sense. But how it'll all play out when I actually run in them is a little different, I guess. But for right now, just getting these out of the box and what I saw online, what I'm seeing in hand, I'm cool with them. I like the way things are coming together here. So Adidas may have made a fan of me on their running shoes again. We'll see though. I mean, they did pretty well with that 5X thing, right? The Ultra Boost 5X and the 5. So, you know, that I'm not saying I'm gonna say A6 isn't my favorite anymore, but because it's gonna take a lot for them to pull me away from that. But so far, things are looking all right. Let's talk about some sizing though, because that's the thing that matters, right? I bought these in a 9.5 because my foot size is 9.5. I say that all the time, right? But anyways, so for me, it's working out fine, right? Somewhat of a slimish build, but I don't need a whole lot of room. I don't feel like I have like large feet or anything. So I just go true to size and things seem to work out. Now, depending on like how the rest of your foot is built, you may not want to do that. I don't really know. But I believe these are easy to find in like shoes stores like Dick's Sporting Goods and stuff like that. So you might be able to go out and try these on before you do that. But if you're not sure, you can always just size up or something. Most people have a pretty decent return policy, so I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I'm just saying, I went true to size and worked out fine for me. They have just the right amount of room as far as I'm concerned, and that's good. So I bought the same size as I bought in all my other running shoes. Now, except for those, there's some Nike thing that was, the Infinity Run 4s, those are small. Either way, so this right here, the midsole, it feels really nice in here, right? You do kind of notice like that extra cushion that you have. Again, like I said, there's going to be more Dreamstrike in these. At the time they made these, it was the most that they put into any shoe. Is that still the case? I honestly don't know. But you do notice it from the Rise to the Primas, that the Primas do feel a little better down there in that way. But I still personally prefer the Rise, just like walking around wise. How I'll feel running in them is a totally different story, and that will be another day. But for right now, I will say this. I like these a fair amount. I've got no complaints, not a single one as far as walking around in them. The upper feels like it's going to be super breathable too, and that's a good thing. You don't have any heel slippage going on back there. The tongue didn't feel like it was digging into my foot like it did with those Brooks Hyperion 2s. So I like the things that they have going on with these, and I have some pretty high hopes for these working out pretty well. I'm not saying high hopes to this extent that they'll be my new favorites or anything, but high hopes in the sense that they will be worth the money I spent. Because I've bought some things in the past and thought, these aren't worth X amount of dollars, right? But I feel like these should hopefully give me like a $160 feeling. At $160, I don't know what else I can compare them to, honestly, because I don't have anything at that price point. When it comes to like the Rises, you're looking at what? The Nova Blast 5, that was $140, right? So that would be like the biggest thing. The Brooks Hyperion 2, also $140. $160, $165, and we can talk about the Kayano 31s or the Nimbuses, right? But I don't know. I guess I'll have to see about that later. I have some Nimbus 27s coming in and a fresh pair of Kayano 31s as well. So maybe I'll compare these to those. I don't know. We'll see. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, wherever you are. Probably covered everything I needed to cover, but if I didn't, well, it's too late now. Later, people.